सुनवाई थी, तो सुनवाई अभी अभी स्टार्ट हो चुकी है। तो देखिएगा, अभी मैं आपको बता देता हूँ, जो रेखा बुराना जी है, जो एक्सपर्ट कमेटी की जो रिपोर्ट है, वो अभी बोर्ड के जो एडवोकेट है AAG साहब, उन्होंने पेश की है। तो उनकी जो रिपोर्ट है वो पढ़ी जा रही है, और अभी क्या रिपोर्ट है उसमें बातें निकल के आएगी और कैसे अभी बहस है वो आगे चलेगी। तो इस पर मैं आपको लाइव सुनाई है वो आपको सुनाता हूँ। तो सारे साथी हैं वो जल्दी से जुड़ जाएंगे। और अभी देखिएगा, मैं वो रिपोर्ट है पढ़ रही है, तो जैसे ही अभी कन्फर्म आएगी,
इसमें तो करना क्या होता है?
अब देखिएगा चल गया लाइव।
कंप्यूटर करता है ना, मैनुअल थोड़ी करना होता है
भाई पक्ष में ही अपने
नहीं करना होता है ना, इट इज कंप्यूटराइज्ड।
Not seen the report. What was the requirement? Whether this report says कि shift the paper, we shift the paper.
वही देख रहा है, वही हमने देखा, वही उनसे समझना है, हमें समझना है, आपको समझने की जरूरत नहीं है। यस मिस्टर, प्लीज
explain me what has been explained to me. If there is any question,
यस बताइए।
what they have done is, my lordship may have an action. Firstly, your lordship wanted to know as to how the mean has been calculated. The mean has been calculated by, my lord, adding the scores in a particular shift, my lord, adding the scores of all candidates and dividing by the number of students, the mean comes to it. So for every shift, mean has been calculated like this, and thereafter combined mean, my lord, has been calculated by adding the scores of all the candidates and dividing the total number of candidates. So this is how mean has been calculated.
Combined mean means of all the shifts.
All the shifts, my lord, total candidates appear, their scores having been, because 6 shifts if we add, my lord, these 6 will be added, it will give the addition of or the combined score and divided by total number of students who appeared. That is the way mean has been calculated. If your lordship will see annexure 1 below,
Yes.
that is with reference to computing difficulty level of the various shifts.
Yes.
Now what they have done, as I have been told below, that this minimum, this is the serial number are with regard to shifts. The exam code is the paper given below to different candidates. Total valid questions in each, because certain questions were deleted, etc. Therefore, instead of 150 in different shifts, the valid questions were like this. Below
Page number 3. Page number 3.
Annexure 1 at page 3.
Page 3, क्योंकि सफी annexure 1 ही लिखा है।
Sorry, page 3. First page of annexure 1.
Yes, first page. Yes.
These are the statistics, my lord, how they done it. Serial number is, my lord, shifts 1 to 6. Exam code is the question papers code, my lord, given in different shifts. Total valid questions, because there were deletions or additions in some question papers. So total number of valid questions, number of candidates which appeared in each shift, that has been provided. This is minimum and maximum level of difficulty. This level of difficulty has been calculated as I have been told below. This is the minimum. Each question has been below seen from the purpose of as to how many persons have scored correctly in each question and how many have scored incorrectly. That gave, my lord, say out of 100 students, 30 have scored correctly and 70 have scored incorrectly.
That means the question is difficult.
In other paper, if 70 have correctly scored and 30 didn't correctly score, then it was found to be easy. The charts will make it clear, my lord. Bottom your lordship will see. Let us have, my lord, the difficulty level of next page, my lord.
ठीक है, सारी शिफ्ट्स का difficulty level वो किया है।
हाँ, next देखें साहब, इसमें थोड़ा सा it will give a glimpse immediately.
Yes.
In shift 1, your lord, let us see, my lord, how many persons scored 90.
Yes.
In shift 190, the 20,000 students, about 20,000 and more students scored 90.
Not 20,000, 50,000 से कुछ, 20,000 से कम।
Yes, 90. Yes. Less than 20, but more than 15,000.
Yes.
In the next, we will see, my lord, it is lesser.
Yes. It's less than
Similarly, in third shift, it is much less.
10,000 years.
Yes. But in fourth shift, it is much higher. about nearing to more than 15,000 and between 20,000. In fifth shift, 90 is lesser. In sixth shift, it is much lesser. Similarly, if we come to
So this is how they calculated the difficulty of the
level
paper.
pilot, and this is average. The mean has been drawn pilot, and then combined mean has been drawn.
ठीक है.
फॉर्मूला भाई
Yes,
समझाए
Mr.
जा रहे हैं.
Joshi.
अभी
The thing is,
रिस्पोंडेंट के
there is-
वकील बोलेंगे, राजेश जोशी बोलेंगे.
कहीं पर ये नहीं है कि because of this formula someone else has either been benefited or out of the same shifts some people have been awarded more marks and किसी का कम कर दिया, there has been a reduction by. It's not that. पूरा complete parity है, जिसका बड़ा है उस शिफ्ट में सबका बड़ा है, जिस शिफ्ट में कम हुआ उसका सबका कम है.
Report will be supplied, we will also examine.
RTA में अप्लाई करिए ना, आपको मिल जाएगी.
RTA में they refused to kindly see. I have the document. RTA, they have
As I have shown to your lordship, my lord, it is not that we want to seal anything. If your lordship says, we will
kindly see. One of the candidates has applied and this was answer was given.
मिस्टर जोशी, आप सिर्फ एक काम करिए, अगर आपको लगता है ना कि फॉर्मूला गलत है, ठीक है, 5 अलग लोगों पे वो फॉर्मूला अप्लाई करके देख लीजिए. इफ देयर इज अ डिस्क्रिपेंसी, otherwise nothing at this stage. It's completely okay. लिखिए इसमें.
भाई स्टेटने वाला है भाई.
Petition has
फॉर्मूला
been
से
filed,
बताएं.
has been filed. Agreed of. Result dated 3-4 months.
stand in their bag.
Yes. Annexure 6. Agreed of. Result dated 25 bracket में Annexure 6. Whereby the result in pursuant to the recruitment for annual attendance has been declared. Full stop. Next, the case of the petitions is that a process of scaling, a scaling formula has been adopted in the present recruitment, whereas as per the conditions of the advertisement, it was only to be a process of negative marking. And as per the advertisement, 1 mark for each correct question, correct answer, and deduction of 1/4 mark for each incorrect answer was to be made. The advertisement nowhere prescribed for the scaling oblique normalization oblique rationalization method to be adopted. Next, it has further been submitted that the respondent it has further been submitted that adopting the scaling formula, the raw marks of the candidates have not been declared. Next, thirdly, no cutoff for each category. No cutoff marks for each category have been declared while declaring the result. Next, responding to the above arguments as raised on behalf of the petitioners, it has been submitted on behalf of the respondent department that as more than 17 lakh applications were received in pursuant to advertisement in question, a requirement arose to conduct the examination in different shifts as a written examination for 17 lakh candidates could not have been conducted in one shift. Full stop. As soon as it was decided that the examination was to be conducted in different shifts, it was realized that to maintain a parity, the normalization oblique scaling method would be required to be adopted. Therefore, at the set stage itself, void. Notification dated. Yes, where is that?
A33.
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 Void. Circular dated 5/6 bracket में next 3. It was notified that the examination would be conducted in different shifts and further the normalization method would be adopted for the recruitment in question. Full stop. The said amended circular was notified to be a part of the original amendment, original advertisement. Next. So far as the scaling formula, next is so far as the non-declaration, so far as the ground of non-declaration of raw marks of the candidates is concerned, comma, after the said ground being raised before this court on the first date of hearing, comma, admittedly, the raw marks of the unsuccessful candidates have been declared by the department. Full stop. This by the staff selection board. Full stop. The issue, the said issue, therefore, now is not required to be gone into. Next. So far as the scaling formula as adopted by the State Department is concerned, comma, it has been submitted that the same was recommended by an expert committee which was appointed for the said purpose. First of the committee, after a thorough consideration of the question papers of all the 6 shifts, okay, after a thorough research of thorough consideration of the question papers of all the shifts, computed the difficulty level, and then as per the difficulty level of the set papers, of the question papers in all the 6 shifts, comma, recommended a specific formula to maintain the parity between the candidates appearing in all the shifts and attempting different question papers. First of Learned WAG submitted that there is no ground that it is not the case of the petitioners that the department acted malafidely or any corrupt practices had been while applying the formula, applying the scaling formula. Full stop. Council further submitted that the fact that a normalization process would be adopted was very well intimated to the candidates at the first stage itself, and now when the candidates participated in the said process without raising any objection to the same at that stage, comma, cannot now, after the result being declared, lay a challenge to the same. Full stop. A further ground has been raised that the courts would not sit in appeal over the recommendations, opinion of an expert committee. Full stop. If the report oblique recommendation of the committee is not found to be bona fide, comma, the courts cannot interfere. Courts should not generally interfere with the same. Next. In support of the submissions, counsel relied upon the judgments and political State versus Atul Kumar Dwivedi, Devika Banjara and Gaurav Sharma.
रुकेंगे भाई, एक बार चल रहा है, ऑर्डर पूरा लिखाया जा रहा है, स्टेट ये पूरा एकदम कंफर्म अभी न्यूज हो जाएगा एक बार।
मिस्टर जोशी, आपका एक जजमेंट था ना? You had cited one.
Yes.
गौरव शर्मा, देविका बंजारा एंड अतुल कुमार द्विवेदी और एक दीपेंद्र यादव, इन चारों को लेते जाइए। ये आपका एक था ना कोई? अतुल द्विवेदी के पहले का ही था या अतुल द्विवेदी था?
अतुल द्विवेदी के पहले का संजय सिंह,
यस, संजय सिंह वर्सेस यूपीएससी, उनके उसमें लिखते जाइए। नेक्स्ट, अदर काउंसिल्स peruse the record. नेक्स्ट, this court is not inclined to interfere in the present petition for the following reasons. First,
and this argument is also recorded. A copy of the expert committee report was not placed on record, nor copy was given to us.
रजिस्टर को हमने लिखा देंगे, लिखे इसमें एट द काउंसिल, इसके पहले लिख लीजिएगा।
प्रोड्यूस तो करा देते हैं।
After hearing all the counsels at length on previous sub-budgets, the court directed London AAG to keep the expert committee report for perusal of this court on the next day, that is today. Full stop. The same has been furnished to the court for perusal today. Full stop. Next, the court thoroughly examined the said report and even sought the assistance of the expert who was present before the court to explain the same. Next, counsel for the petitioners raised an objection that the copy of the said expert committee has not been supplied to him. Next, the said objection. Next, in the opinion of this court, the same is not required to be done. Full stop. The report had been called by the court to examine and to satisfy itself regarding the scaling formula as adopted, as recommended by the committee and as adopted by the board. Full stop. The petitioners, if desired to obtain a copy of the said report, it is very well open for them to proceed in accordance with law. Next, at the council's period, at the council's period, the record. Next, this court is not inclined to interfere in the present petition for the following reasons. First, admittedly, the fact that the written examination for the recruitment in question was to be conducted in different shifts and
no battery, please charge.
The normalization process was notified, amended, circular dated, 5/6 bracket में section 3, full stop. Meaning thereby, all the incumbents who the same at that point of time. Full stop.
भाई यार बैटरी स्पीकर की थोड़ी लो हो गई।
Assent the said condition complete procedure at that point of time. Full stop. Meaning thereby, none of the candidate was agreed of the said process to be adopted by the respondent department. Full stop. As a settled proposition of law, any candidate who participates in a recruitment process cannot, at the day or in one shift. Therefore, the decision of the department to conduct the examination in different shifts was the most natural consequence. The issue now is when any examination for recruitment is conducted in different shifts, what can be the attempt to maintain a parity between the candidates who appear in different shifts and attempt different question papers. It is the most natural consequence of the examination being conducted in different shifts that the question papers can be easy in some shift and tough in some other shift. In those circumstances, a parity definitely has to be maintained between different set of candidates appearing different shifts. As is the settled position of the law, the best method to maintain the parity is adoption of some normalization, scaling, rationalization process. This is what has been done in the present matter. And greatly so. Next, coming on to the issue whether the scaling formula as adopted by the respondents is correct or whether some other formula ought to have been adopted, the court is of the clear view that the same is not within the domain of the courts to decide as to which formula would have been better or which formula ought to have been adopted by the respondent department. As held by the Honorable Apex Court and so and so, it is the jurisdiction of the experts to decide on the said issues. The same having been done by an expert committee in the present matter, it does not require any interference by this court. Furthermore, this court has thoroughly gone through the expert committee report and finds it totally justified, wherein a complete consideration of the difficulty standard of the question papers in all shifts has been taken care of. Next, case for interference is made of, petitioner is dismissed.
Petitioner okay as well.
पहले लिखिएगा एक सबसे शुरुआत में लिखिएगा at the very inception. Counsel for the petitioner seeks permission to withdraw the petition for petitioner number 4 in view of the submission made, dismiss as withdrawn for petitioner number 4. You're right. Yes. These days को और हो जाएगा डिसाइडेड हो जाएगा, लॉ सेटल्ड है. ये जहाँ पे जजमेंट्स है वहाँ पे आप लोग जजमेंट के साथ में करवा दीजिए इसको. मेक एन अटेम्प्ट, अपने स्टाफ में से अपने ऑफिस में से 2 बच्चों को तैयार करिए who would be attending these matters only. मेडिकल रिएम्बर्समेंट के जजमेंट्स पे हम ये कर रहे हैं कि हम पूरा एक सेट बना के भेज रहे हैं मीडिएशन सेंटर में कि these are the judgments on this point. आप लोगों को सिर्फ यही करना है, उनको देख के उनको बता दीजिए कि किससे कवर होगा, so that the matters are decided. मीडिएशन को रेफर कर दीजिए. Yes. मेडिकल रिएम्बर्समेंट मीडिएशन. मिस्टर जजमेंट्स लिख के जाइएगा साथ
अभी तक भाई फाइनल दिखाया नहीं है।
दोस्तों मैं आपको बता
फाइनल ऑर्डर भाई अभी आने वाला है।
पूरी तरह से हट चुका है और इसका फाइनल रिजल्ट उसी
भाई थोड़ा सा रुकेंगे एक बार।
जैसे बच्चों को बोल रही है वो आपको पहले ही आके नोट कर देंगे, तो बना ही रहे आपको नोट कर देंगे कौन कौन सा मेडिकल पेपर्स, ताकि उनको सीधा
दोस्तों इसके
स्टे भाई हट गया है, कन्फर्म हो गया अभी। थोड़ा सा और बातें रही है, वो क्लियर कर रहे हैं, उसके बाद मैं आपको बताऊंगा। बिल्कुल भाई जीत गए, छोटो लिख रहे हैं। बिल्कुल भाई खुशी हो रही है।
पहुंच चुका है
स्टे भाई फाइनली हट चुका है।
वही लाइव आने वाला
अभी देखिएगा ऑर्डर में आएगा पूरा कन्फर्म, वो क्या लिखा है वो मैं आपको डिटेल हिंदी ट्रांसलेट करके बताऊंगा एक बार। लेकिन कन्फर्म अभी हो गया है कि स्टे हट गया भाई।
करें
भाई खुशी हो रही है सच में भाई, बहुत दिन हो गए। एक बार और सुन लेते हैं थोड़ा सा रे ऑर्डर क्या लिखा रहे हैं।
हमारे साथ मिलकर काफी मेहनत की
उसमें मेडिकल को लेकर वो बातें हो रही है थोड़ी सी।
डिपार्टमेंट सेक्शन से कुछ नहीं किया था, वो रिपोर्ट में स्टे करना हुआ है। Then in 2023 from their department to another department the transfer order was passed, and then ये तो खत्म हो गई, सक्सेस हो गई, वो दे दीजिए ऑर्डर दे दीजिए। हाँ वो दूसरी जगह में
भाई थोड़ा सा कन्फर्म और कर लेते हैं, मतलब लास्ट में जो और लिखा रहे हैं आगे क्या बात है वो मैं आपको बता दूंगा। अभी ऑर्डर आएगा जस्ट के बाद, इस लाइव के बाद। वैसे स्टे है वो कन्फर्मली हट गए हैं, और जो एक्सपर्ट कमेटी का जो फॉर्मूला था उसके एकदम क्लियर है, वो बताया गया है। और देखिएगा अभी मैं आपको फाइनल ऑर्डर दे के और टेलीग्राम चैनल पे अपडेट कर दूंगा, तो सारे साथी टेलीग्राम चैनल को ज़रूर ज्वाइन कर लेना। और भाई खुशी हो रही है कि स्टे है वो फाइनली हट चुका है। और देखिएगा सबसे महत्वपूर्ण बात कि ये जो अभी ऑर्डर लिखाया गया है इसमें कुछ और बातें लिखाई गई है, और जो एक्सपर्ट कमेटी ने नॉर्मलाइजेशन का ये फॉर्मूला है उसको बोर्ड के द्वारा अडेप्ट किया गया, और कोर्ट के द्वारा भी उसको कंसर्न किया गया है, और उसको एकदम सही माना गया है। ठीक है, तो अभी फाइनली स्टे हट चुका है। सारे साथी अभी मैं आपके कमेंट पढ़ना चाहूँगा कुछ देर, क्या कमेंट आ रहे हैं आपके। भाई जल्दी से मैं जा रहा हूँ कमेंट की तरफ, और उसके बाद में टेलीग्राम चैनल पे पूरा ऑर्डर है वो मैं आपको जल्दी से बता दूंगा सारे। तो सारे साथी एक बार और भाई एक बार लाइक कर दो भाई, बहुत ही कम लाइक दे रखे हैं आपने। एक बार सारे साथी लाइक वाला बटन दबाएंगे भाई, देखता हूँ कितने लाइक बढ़ सकते हैं, कितनी खुशी आपको हो रही है। जितनी खुशी मुझे हो रही है उतनी खुशी आपको हो रही है क्या? एक बार लाइक वाला बटन दबाएंगे सभी साथी, और मैं आपके कमेंट पढ़ देता हूँ। भाई मौज कर दी, बिल्कुल बेटे मौज कर दी भाई, अभी मज़ा आ रहा है ना, वो कह रहा उफ मज़ा आ रहा है, वो बात हो गई भाई। भाई अभी मतलब अगले कुछ दिनों के बाद यानी 15 अगस्त से पहले या उसके बाद लगभग भाई साहब, यानी कहने का मतलब है, अब आपको मैं बता देता हूँ थोड़ा सा कि जो फाइनल मेरिट लिस्ट है उसके साथ कट ऑफ आएगी, और जो आपका क्या बोलते हैं प्रोविजन लिस्ट है वो पहले आएगी, उसके बाद फाइनल कट ऑफ और फाइनल जो मेरिट लिस्ट है वो आएगी। और ये जो दोनों चीज़ें हैं वो एंड अगस्त यानी अगस्त से पहले ही हो जाएगी। अभी बिल्कुल कई साथी क्या करें भाई, स्टे है वो फाइनली हट गया, कई साथी है उनको अभी पता ही नहीं है, तो स्टे भाई हट चुका है। फाइनली ऑर्डर आएगा वो पूरा मतलब अभी लिखाया गया है, तो उसमें क्या क्या बातें किस प्रकार से लिखाई गई है और एक क्या बातें उसमें कही गई है वो कन्फर्मली बता दूंगा, लेकिन इतना अभी कन्फर्म है कि स्टे आपका हट चुका है। तो चलिएगा इतना लाइव, उसके बाद में टेलीग्राम चैनल सारे साथी जरूर ज्वाइन कर लेना अभी।